Hello to my poetry students. I've been thinking about you as you head into this writing assignment. And I know that sometimes it's easy to make annotations, it's easy to make observations, but it is not easy to synthesize or bring those things together. I'm sure that you're thinking about how you can put your observations together, how you can create a claim or a thesis statement. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to do that and how to make it easy. This is called stripping it down to build it back up so you can make meaningful written arguments about poetry. So the first thing that you did, and you've already done this, but if you felt like you were struggling or needed to do more, go ahead and go back. First, look at your chosen poem. What is it about? What ultimately is your topic? This should be your ability to summarize what the poem is saying, making sure that you understand what you've read in a summary kind of manner. But the next thing we're going to do is try to figure out what does it say about what it's about. And that is going to be your main original point. What's meaningful, unique, surprising, or interesting about what it's about are going to be your hook or your lead in to help make your writing exciting for a reader and to make it interesting for yourself. So let's look at this poem real quick. It's not very long, but it gives us a good foundation on which to make some observations. The Orange by Amy Cope. At lunchtime, I bought a huge orange. The size of it made us all laugh. I peeled it and shared it with Robert and Dave. They got quarters and I had a half. And that orange, it made me so happy, as ordinary things often do just lately. The shopping, a walk in the park. This is peace and contentment. It's new. The rest of the day was quite easy. I did all the jobs on my list and enjoyed them and had some time over. I love you. I'm glad I exist. So this poem is really a gorgeous little 3-stanza poem told in first person. And if I were to go through the process of annotating it like you've already done, I would talk about the rhymes, I would talk about her friends. We've got Robert and Dave here, and we have you, the reader. So what's this poem about? Well, literally, it's about a huge orange, which is part of what makes it so charming. It's about personal happiness and the things that make us happy, or it could be about being in love, right? Whatever you understand it to be about that is reasonable is what it's about for your paper's purpose. So then the question becomes, what does it say about what it's about? The speaker's newfound love has changed her perspective on nearly every aspect of her life, so that the most ordinary, simple things seem remarkably beautiful. So that's original here, what it's saying about what it's about. So how do we get to this kind of idea? How do we figure out what to say about what a poem is about? Well, we can look at a few things. We'll notice the poetic devices. The orange is a symbol. It hooks the reader. It draws us in. There's a change in the poem where we shift from talking about the orange to say it's new and just lately. We've got both a time shift as well as a shift in tone. And then we have I love you. So you talking directly to the reader or directly to some sort of an audience. What is the source of that perspective? We could also think about the speaker's social interaction, including I love you, right? So like talking to the friends, going shopping, all of those, as well as I love you. Doesn't have to be romantic. We could talk about that rejuvenation of ordinary things for the speaker and organize it in that way. We could use the orange as a symbol of the speaker's new contentment, right? These are all observations and thoughts that we can synthesize together to organize our written responses. We will have to interpret these lines, we'll have to think them through, but see how they are grounded in the text, right? We've got specific phrases, we've got specific lines to look at. All right, so writing a main point marks the transition point between reading a text for understanding, so just to know what it means, and beginning to express an interpretation of it. You are not meant to only understand the poem, you're also supposed to find a meaning, your interpretation. These are different processes, these are not the same things. So we are moving beyond understanding at this point in your writing. If you have not yet understood your text, if you're not quite sure that you know what it means, then you got to go back and do that before you come up with the main point. You got to really know what we've read in order to decide what we want to write about, what it's about. So when you write a focused essay that supports a central point, a poorly crafted main point can doom your argument. We have to practice this. We have to revise our main points. We have to go back. Even after we've written, always go back to your work. Share your main points with another student in your class. Share them in office hours. Do something so you can see, am I showing just understanding of the poem in a summary way, or am I beginning to interpret this poem? You want to focus on the meaning of the text. What is the text teaching you? Instead of asking only questions that lead to predetermined interpretations. Examples of this would be like, what is the symbol of the text? Or how does this author use rhyme? Or how does this author use enjambment? Instead, ask what you are learning from the text. That's going to take you to interpretation, and it's going to make it more fun, particularly when you read poetry. Remember, your interpretations, your observations of a text matter. It's not just about seeing what everyone else sees. It's about seeing what you notice and then taking off from there. It is much easier to organize an essay according to literary devices. This poem uses imagery, enjambment, and anaphora, but that's not what we're doing here. That assumes that these don't work together to convey your main point. You need to organize by keywords, not necessarily by literary devices. And then within your essay, you can talk about how literary devices convey those ideas. So here's some thesis statements that will need revision. In the orange, the author uses enjambment to help make a point about friendship. The speaker's orange in the orange is a symbol. The speaker also uses enjambment, alliteration, and first-person perspective. While these are organized thesis statements, they need to be doing more. We don't want to say words like the theme of, or any form of the word use, the author uses, or through the use of, or utilizes. Don't bother with how the author uses things, how the speaker uses things. That's showing understanding so that you get the text, a summary of it, but not interpretation. So ask yourself, is my topic significant? Does the main point say something meaningful about the topic? So does it go beyond a simple summary? Does the main point suggest something literary to be included in the analysis, even if you don't mention literary devices in the main point? Which I would encourage you not to do that. I would say look for keywords instead of trying to arrange by literary devices. Literary devices show an understanding of the text, but not necessarily an interpretation. So here are some thesis statements that do work, some claims that build your argument. The orange examines the simple joys of living with a tenderness that the speaker extends to all other subjects in the poem, as well as the reader. The speaker of the orange examines how life becomes much more manageable and easy in light of the love of other people. So these thesis statements have moved beyond just understanding what the poem is about to considering what the poem is about. I want you to think about that when you're working on your writing assignment this week. And I want you to think about how you can bring your unique observations and interpretations to the text, how you can ground them in specific words and phrases to provide evidence. And then lastly, how you can turn those into a synthesized thesis statement or claim that is going to work to say something significant. Good luck with this. I know you can do it, and I hope you have a great week in poetry.